The older you get, the more time you spend alone. It's a fact. And so for those of you that are lone wolves out there, you've got an edge as you get older because you've already got this alone thing figured out. Let's just take a look at a little chart, shall we? So if we're going to look at the people who are keeping us company in our lives, let's start with how many hours a day we spend with our partner, if we have one. According to this graph, you'll spend about 4 hours a day with your partner, peaking around the age of 30 and 40. And then when you're 60, it takes a little jump as you're likely in your retirement years together. So you spend another hour or 45 minutes a day together. And then it really just declines there, probably because your partner died and they're not around anymore. And then we see how much time we're spending with our coworkers. And that starts around age 20, 30, 40, 50s, spending around 4 hours a day with our coworkers, another 4 hours a day with our partner. But then the time at work really declines. Obviously, we retire. And then you've got the friends. And the friends is pretty relevant in those earlier years. Obviously, you don't have a partner, you're not working, so you're going to spend time with your friends. You're hanging out with them maybe 3 hours a day, barely 3 hours a day. What about at school? Doesn't that account for something? Then it severely drops after the age of 20. Time with friends really goes down. You're lucky if you get half an hour a day with your friend. Why? Well, because you're working so much and then you got a partner, right? Sometimes your partner is your best friend. Then we move over to parents, siblings, and family. So your parents are around, obviously, from the day you're born, at least one of them anyway, and you're spending the majority of your time there, 4 hours a day with your parents. Come on. I don't know. I guess that's it. These numbers are a little skewed for me. And then it takes a drop after the age of 20. Not spending so much time with family anymore. And so can we just normalize this? That maybe every day, on average, you're spending an hour with your family. So maybe if, I don't know. I don't know what the average is. I guess this is the average. I think some of us would be below the average. If these scores represent the averages, some of us are coming in below average. Okay, the lone wolf definitely coming in below average on these things because some of us don't have a lot of friends, some of us are not having a lot of family. Like, what about interacting with people who are your customers? Like, that could go on for 8 hours straight, right? I don't know. Again, I didn't make up this chart and this graph. I didn't do this study. Now, children, okay. So some of us never have children, so we don't have this part in our lives. Some of us have many children. So it looks different for everyone, doesn't it? The time that we're spending the most time with our children is between the ages of 30 and 40. It really climbs up there. But then it takes a steep decline. By age 50, you're lucky to get 2 hours a day with your kids, which is a lot. If I had 2 hours a day with my kid's normally in her room. That's how they are, right? That's why they say, like, really cherish this time that you have with them because then it dwindles off to not so much. I would love to see a little spike there. Us being able to spend time with our children, that it goes up as we get older because they're coming around. And no, they're not, because they're too busy with their partner, with their children, with their work. They can't be doing that. So that's how that plays out in life. And last but not least, okay, this is the one. This is the chart we've been waiting for. The time alone. All right. You're lucky to have, a few hours, maybe 4 hours alone when you're 15, which is still great. 4 hours a day. By the time you're 90, it's doubled. It's 8 hours a day. So you can look back to when you were a kid. How much time would you spend alone? Double that. I think that's the reason why people will go into those old age retirement homes, because there's other people around to come and see you. But if you're a lone wolf, remember, you're already very well equipped for this. You're ready. You're prepared for the twice as much time alone in your 80s. You're ready for it. And what this time is allowing you to do is to find your way back to yourself. Because before all that, your time had been found in career. And I'll talk about that in a minute, because that can be very satisfying for lone wolves. But the lone wolves really do have an edge as we get older because we're preconditioned for this lifestyle. We've already figured it out. We already know. We've been doing it a long time. And if we haven't been, then we can't wait until we get to. So we're not going to suffer as much with empty nest syndrome, getting a divorce, or even getting fired from a job. Those things that seem devastating to most people are blessings in disguise for us. And this is what the lone wolf is really all about. This whole time, this is what you've been trying to do. It's to just be yourself. And to be yourself alone. To be alone with yourself. And whether that was easy for you to do or not, if you're a lone wolf, then it is easy. But there will come a time, and there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. It has to be done in one way or another. You can't resist it. You can't resist the lone wolf path, the path towards who you are. And when you first embark on this conscious lone wolf path, you know you're out there to follow your intuition, whether it makes sense to anyone else or not. What is it she's doing out there? She's defying all the norms. She's not doing it like everyone else. What's wrong with her? Well, for the lone wolf, that can feel very exhilarating at first because you're off on a new adventure. You're off doing things that you've never done before, that you've always wanted to do. But it's not really an adventure. This is a long overdue journey. The undeniable urge will meet you and take you there, back to who you really are. If you've been living your life for everyone else and you've been ignoring the call, as we know, life becomes very unsatisfying and depressing. And so too will going on the path alone seem unsatisfying and depressing. And that is the reality of it all and the reason why many people don't do it. But for you, it's unnegotiable. And whether you want to or not, it's going to happen for everyone as they get older. Time alone is going to increase. Time alone is going to become more and more. And so what are you going to do with that time alone? Are you okay with that time alone? Because with that time alone requires you to face yourself. Who are you? What kind of person are you? You'll find yourself walking away from marriages. You'll walk away from jobs. You'll walk away from friends, from hobbies, from communities, from pastimes. You'll spend a lot of time in a state of nothingness, putting around, checking things out, looking out the window, reading the paper, doing the crossword, reflecting, and hopefully not resenting, ruminating, or regretting the life you wish you had. Because the life you have is the path that leads you to yourself. This is an extremely rare type that I talk about here. The lone wolf is not for the faint of heart. No one watches one of my videos and says, oh, that sounds cool. I'm going to be a lone wolf like she talks about. No one's saying that. But for people who do resonate with the lone wolf mentality, there's no denying this energy that is within you. Some of us are very much into our work. Our work is our passion, our joy, and a great pastime. Some of us have children and we put everything we can into raising them, the best we know how. Maybe even raising some fellow lone wolves. But love and friendship, some of us can take it or leave it. Someone commented on one of my last posts that their ex told them that they didn't understand why they were together because they could tell they were happier alone. And they just always wanted to be alone. And they weren't offended to hear that. They were like, that's the truth. No offense taken. So to choose this lone wolf lifestyle, it's just a natural part of your own personal growth. If you haven't done it already, then maybe it's time. Maybe you have been hearing the calling, but you haven't been listening. And although you may have been distracting yourself with work or children or other just hobbies and pastimes, what would it be like to just sit with yourself? To take a nice, slow walk with yourself, with nowhere to go? To just be with yourself, with nothing to do, aside from get to know who you are. There's nothing greater than that. Who else do you really need to know the best, if not yourself? Know thyself, they say. It's inevitable. Your time alone is just getting more and more if it's not already. So how are you going to use it? Self-discovery.